18. This is Bazaar Morning Call, live from the CNBC-TV18 headquarters in Mumbai.
Good morning. Welcome to Bazaar Morning Call. I'm Lata, and with me, of course, Anuj and Sonia joining from their homes. Anuj, Sonia, little did we realize even 1 hour ago that this is going to be one heavy day. Well, it looked like it would be another day when India could outperform. That there was every expectation, because yesterday we were rank outperformers, and now it looks like the discussion we had on whether the FII selling has become so much, it has reached the December 2013 levels, and therefore are we in for mean reversion? That may not have been a moot question, because FII selling clearly has reduced yesterday to 3 digits. So maybe we were in for a bit of outperformance anyway. India is getting back to work. That's another reason why there could be some bit of positivity in the markets. But with the Reserve Bank governor now deciding to advance his policy, it does look like today the markets will be one front foot forward. And as if if all this is not enough, there is the big Reliance announcement yet again. I think this is 2 in 1 week. An announcement of another 11,000 crores that the company has been able to attract. I mean, raising 80,000 crores in a market like this from marquee foreign investors, that will keep another end of the market up. So looks like we're in for a good day, you think, Anuj?
Good morning, Lata. I get nervous when things are positive, and when cues are positive. I was doing my YouTube live yesterday, and I said perhaps tomorrow is going to be just nothing kind of day. And as you said, till 1 hour back we didn't know we'll have to deal with so many cues. Lata, I will talk about today's trade in a bit, but just a slightly bigger point. I am looking at this big divergence between Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and I know there's a RBI press conference at 10 today. If you see the last 2 times there has been a press conference by the RBI governor, and all the steps have been welcome, but the market goes into that event with long positions, and by the end of the day the market comes off, especially on the Bank Nifty. Now if you see yesterday's data, the FIs have sold in cash market a little bit. That selling has come down, that's a relief, but they've sold in index futures, and in index futures they've added 6 times more shorts compared to the longs, and the SGX Nifty is indicating that will start perhaps slightly on the lower side. What I'm trying to tell here is that there's a bit of a pair trade which is on in the market right now. Because of Reliance, because of IT, because of telecom, pharma, Nifty is not falling, and that's why there are long positions being taken on the Nifty, but there are shorts being taken on the Bank Nifty, and that's why the Nifty has rallied about 21% from its 52-week lows. The Bank Nifty is in danger of actually going back to 52-week low. It's just about 10% off the 52-week low, and in fact this month as well the Nifty is down 7.5% and the Bank Nifty is down 18%. I think that trend will get tested today with this RBI press conference at 10 a.m. Keep an eye on that. Of course, we don't know where it will end with the Q&A and all, but second half I think will give you an important message, also because it's a long weekend. Sonia, hi, good morning.
Hi Anuj, morning. The most important point at the end, right? It's a long weekend and Monday is a holiday. But how about global cues? Because this morning the SGX Nifty is down 40 points. You have the Hong Kong market as we speak, which is down about 1,000 points. And let's not forget the employment data that came out from the US was quite gloomy. I mean, 2.5 million people filing for unemployment. You also have rising tensions across Asia. So that's going to be a bit of an overhang for our markets, definitely. Also, if you look at it, FI is once again selling about 250 crores or so. DIs though bought about 400 odd crores. So Anuj, I mean, of course, I want to go to Lata as well to ask her what exactly one should watch out for from the RBI announcement. But first to you, how would you negotiate the weak global cues with the local ones? Do you think that will continue to keep a lid on the market?
Sonia, in closing bell, the Dow futures were slightly weak, and we knew that the jobs data will be bad. But you're right that Hang Seng market is down quite a bit and global markets are down, so we have to react to that. And the way I look at things is that the Nifty right now is trading around a declining 50-day moving average. Right now it's 9,112. You draw the Nifty's chart and see the April rally where it peaked out. It peaked out exactly at the 50-day moving average. So if this rally has to peak out, this is the zone. I mean, if we are able to negotiate today and move into the green, I think that will be market's message. But if we start to fail from here, 9100 to 9200, I think that would mark a lower top for the market. So we need to see. I don't preempt markets. I try to get sense of what the market is telling me. So we need to see if the dips are getting bought today or if the rallies are getting sold into. And just to repeat the point on the bank nifty, it remains weak. And most of the measures on the bank nifty is almost like when you have an infection and you have fever because of that. If you take paracetamol, it will reduce the fever. But till the time that illness is cured, the fever will keep coming back and you'll keep needing more paracetamol. So I think that's how I explain the bank nifty's position right now.
Okay, all right. So symptomatic relief perhaps for the bank nifty. But Lata, what about the 10 a.m. press conference? What should one expect?
Well, I'm quite sure it's the monetary policy. I mean, the hints were all over the place. I feel like kicking myself for not at least, telling the market in advance that I am expecting the monetary policy ahead of June 6th, for sure. Because there were so many economists. We were calling for routine, interviews about the economy. We had all those, big Goldman Sachs cut of -5% of GDP, and Nomura had done it even earlier. Citi had brought down their GDP numbers to -3.5. At each point, economists were telling us that we have a governor's meeting. I mean, it should have been in the air that the governor's already meeting economists this early. There should be a possibility of an early monetary policy announcement. The market is not quite convinced. When I called people today, they said, why? It could only be regulatory issues that he's announcing. The governor has never previously addressed the media for regulatory changes. If there is an NPA reclassification, he just leaves it to a press release from the Reserve Bank. The governor addresses the media for monetary policy reasons only, at least so far. That's the record. So going by that record and the fact that there were hectic confabulations all of this week with marquee economists, my sense is that there is, and you call economists for monetary policy. You don't call them to change the NPA classification rules. That the RBI knows, and they would be consulting bankers on that. So my sense is that it is a monetary policy announcement, and the dipstick survey I did in the past hour indicates that people are expecting a 50 basis cut at least in the repo. The repo is now at 4.4, so it will go to 3.9 if the guess is right. And they are expecting a 75 basis cut in the reverse repo. Reverse repo is at the moment at 3.75. It could go down to 3. And then I don't know whether he will once again flog the horse of the targeted LTRO, targeted long-term repo. He could not, but that's another likelihood. And most importantly, it will be the NPA rules. Either the moratorium is extended, or, as a lot of bankers have been suggesting, instead of this quick fix of extending moratorium and leaving everyone in doubt, he could allow a 1 year of interest dues to be restructured into a term loan or some such, loan restructuring basically could be allowed. This is just, of course, market expectation. There could be any kind of changes to the NPA classification rules. The field is quite vast. So that's the expectation, basically. So you will see banks and NBFCs going to the event a bit on the front foot. Okay. So on the MPC, let's get back to the equity markets and get you some important opinion. Today's equity opinion comes from Vikas Jain of CLSA. Vikas says FIs selling moderated in India in April after a big March outflow. FIs sold $0.9 billion in equities and $1.6 billion in debt. A big month-on-month cut in underweight in IT. An increase in overweight in NBFCs was funded by a cut in overweight position in discretionaries and a hike in underweight in staples. FI's overweight call on banks remained flat month-on-month.
Okay, let's get you some money market calls as well. The rupee remained largely flat yesterday, closing in around that 75.80 level to the dollar. This morning, Bhaskar Panda of HDFC Bank says India will be following global cues. Hence, we could see the dollar INR trade in a range of around 75.50 to 76.85 for the trading day.
Well, I think we have asked Mr. Bhaskar Panda this call maybe an hour earlier. So I don't know if Mr. Panda could have woven in the rate expectations, but his view is that the market has been trading sideways as of now, and he sees no change in this pattern. No, I don't think we should go through this call, because 10 a.m. is when the bond markets also open, and therefore they will respond to whatever the governor says. This call is if the governor's press conference had not been there.
Yes, things become obsolete in market, quicker than you can imagine, and that this, of course, the press conference has changed dynamics, and we'll figure out. But anyway, let's talk about the other part of this equation, which is the global cues. They're slightly weak today. Here's Nigel with the world view.
Well, that's right.